mic signal?
Yep.
Okay. Adam, do you have mic signal?
1 second.
I think that's good. I'm not too reflective. And then here,
Do you need
looks
the baby
okay.
oil?
Make it nice and shiny.
Um,
Gets the watches on and off easier, huh?
Puts the lotion in the basket.
In the basket. Buffalo Bill. Oh, are you plugged in?
Me? Yeah.
Can we get the laptop on the screen?
I think we check the main cam as well. We look
Yeah,
like we
we
need to
gotta
crop
check.
it and
the second is
little
Check
funk.
lighting.
Little funk.
There
Let me
it is.
just go to my. There it is.
Nice.
Presentation mode.
It is in presentation mode. Tis.
Yeah, that looks so much better.
Yeah, without all the ads.
And then
the
can you
crap.
put us in the bottom again? Or
Oh,
like on
yeah,
the side?
on the side. No, the far right definitely would be best.
Or like the top right corner or something. Picture in picture.
Easy there, Robert. Let's see. Refresh this.
I thought this was really pretty.
It's gorgeous.
Right, that
Yeah.
rose gold gray.
Yeah, it pops. I was thinking that or the
Now it's really
the first
like
series, but
mirror in mirror there. Spiegel
Whoa.
and Spiegel.
yeah, Der Spiegel. This is weird. There it is.
Yeah, because we're not going to fill up that much space. We don't need like all the way to the edge. Perfect. Nice,
So now we
David.
just need to crop, or yeah, if that maybe crop the
Who
the
needs
head
this
on.
one?
Do we? You should toss that.
No.
We don't need it.
Dude, well, I'm gonna break something.
Have you seen
Okay,
Have you seen him play
I'm gonna
sports?
break something. Good thing you've got.
This is say rotated, your wrist cam. Are we doing that today?
So, I don't have anything on my wrist, but here. I mean, it's pretty straight when I put my arm in there,
Oh, that's good.
right? And like if I'm showing something like this, it's pretty much bang straight up and down. Because I'm just gonna look at the mirror or the monitor.
You would, you would look in the mirror.
The mirror.
The mirror.
I hate how like some people say mirror.
Like drawer. Draw.
Draw?
Draw.
Drawer.
Draw.
Drawer.
Drawer.
It's
Drawer.
a mirror.
It's a
It's
drawer.
a mirror. Mirror. Look in
Oh,
the mirror.
God, Mir, isn't that a Russian space station?
M-E-R. It was. I think it's like in pieces at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean or something.
All right, let's see.
You know that the bottom of the Pacific is littered with space stuff? Because everything gets decommissioned into the Pacific Ocean. Yeah. It's like a graveyard for satellites and other space. It is.
And now you know. Random bits of knowledge with Robert Russell. Yeah, I was gonna say, be like the rainbow that goes by. The more you know. What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. How's our top down?
Justin, do you mind going back to the?
Oh, do not disturb.
Yeah, I already did mine.
You do your thumbnail.
Oh yeah, you can do it now or after. 2 minutes if you want to do it now.
It should be fighting. Because
It should be.
it's Battle of the Complications.
We're doing like Rankapalooza here, so.
Yeah.
Complication should be like a couple fighting, breaking up.
I was thinking like old school, like fisticuffs. and
We've
then,
done
like,
that before. I feel like we should be like on like a Oh, that would be funny. Hollywood Squares or something. Yes.
Yeah, if you
Well,
did
yeah.
the Hollywood Squares and
With,
you had like some
I'm
watches
trying to
and
think of like
then you're
who
in
the,
one
who
corner
the
and I'm in
iconic
another
people
place.
from that show were. Oh shoot.
That's cool. He can just
Yeah, he'll just
Photoshop
make
that.
it.
We don't even need to worry.
Yeah, yeah.
1 minute.
Okay. Mike's
I
so
guess
hot.
we have signal. I
Yeah.
guess we're good. Am I clipping?
No.
Okay.
Stop.
I have to remember-
Stop yelling into your mic,
I-
Robert. You gotta let me.
Why are we
You gotta remember to
yelling?
let me say something in the next 60 minutes.
How about this? If you have something of substance to say,
I need to
allow it.
raise my hand
I'll
to
allow
speak.
it.
Yeah, thanks.
You have to first tell me that it's going to be good. then I'll make way. Oh, I
All
love
right, I think
showing
we're
this
good
watch,
here.
but I have no idea how to set it off.
Ooh, I know.
Yeah,
It's one of those knobs.
that's what she said.
Oh my god. Oh boy. So glad we're giving the people a little window into. Are we live right now? Oh.
We're actually live now.
Oh, we're camera live now too.
For real live.
What's going on, everybody? Justin and Rob back for another Horological Happy Hour. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you all.
Yeah, thank you. This week, we decided to bring things back to the little ranking game that we played maybe a month or so ago now. We had a really good time with it. I don't remember what the topic was at that point, but it was fun.
Brands.
Brands.
We did the
that's
brand
right,
tier
right.
list. And when we did the brand tier list, we made a point of saying that this is like our personal opinions and our personal views. Obviously, watches are a very personal thing overall. Like, everybody's going to look at them through their own collections, their own experiences, their own style. And we're doing the same thing here. So we're looking at all of the myriad of complications that these things come with, and then talking about like what's useful, what's beautiful, what's both.
Hold on,
What's
yeah.
neither.
Let me pull. If 1 second, sorry. I'm just looking at the comments. Yeah.
Paul Linda.
Scott Paul Linda is iconic on Hollywood Squares. Love it. Actually, if you guys didn't hear, we're doing like a little on the countdown. Our mics are live. So if you guys can think of any iconic Hollywood Square participants, or Hollywood Squares participants, right? Contestants, yeah. Throw them in the chat because we're gonna do something a little fun with that.
Adam,
but
can you grab me a cloth? I forgot to get a
David,
cloth.
if you want to go to my laptop screen real quick, just to kind of show the people what we're doing. If you guys missed the last time, we did a little Rankapalooza action here. So here you go. We are going to rank different horological complications. We came up with, looks like 7 highly scientific categories here. Starting from the top, useful and beautiful, followed by useful and functional, then interesting and functional, beautiful but not functional, interesting and archaic, neither beautiful nor functional, and but why? For real, why? So, far too many categories. We're just going to sit here and argue about what we think
I think
belongs
we'll fill
where.
that in pretty nicely.
Yeah, for sure. Charles Nelson Riley. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. My God. So why don't we run through real quick, Rob, the list of complications that we thought of, and we came up with a lot. I'm sure we missed plenty.
I was gonna say this isn't even like the full gamut because as we were going through the safes and pulling things, I saw other watches and I was like, oh, we didn't think about that. Like when I was in the Rolex drawer, we actually didn't pick like date as one, but I guess we have other calendar complications. So obviously there's going to be things we've missed, which is fine. We rely on you guys to tell us about that in the comments. And there's going to be watches here that obviously will have more than one complication, but we might highlight them as being the, our standard bearer for today of whatever specific complication we're looking at. Or just happen to
wine
be
set
the one
wear.
we have in the store.
I don't know what the difference between useful and functional is. These were Rob's categories, so I'm going to put all the responsibility on him.
So when I was thinking about this, like useful, like if you travel a lot, a dual time is actually very useful. And then there are other complications, like maybe you think about a perpetual calendar and it's like, well, it's a very functional complication, but how practical is the use point of that? You know, am I too deep?
The wheels are
Am I too
already
meta?
coming off. The wheels are already coming off. But let me, so Rob and I came up with 20.
Speaking of the wheels coming off, we forgot to crack
we
our
haven't even done
cones.
this. Hopefully you guys are joining. We are, we're really pushing for the old Cutwater sponsorship deal these days because these have been delicious and they've made things quite spicy over the past couple weeks. So cheers.
Cheers. Cutwater, we're here,
Cheers.
we're available.
Yeah, right. Get at us. Anywho, we came up with 23 different complications. We're not going to have time to get through all of them to rank them all. This will probably be a multi-week thing. But starting from the top, we came up with date, big date, chronograph, split chrono, foudriant, monopusher chronograph, a moon phase complication, power reserve, travel time GMT, day-night indicator, tourbillon, minute repeater, annual calendar, perpetual calendar, regulator, alarm, jumping hour or minutes, star wheel, orbital satellite, just kind of pure funk.
Mhm.
Sidereal time, zodiac calendar, Joan Rivers classic for Hollywood Squares, absolutely. Retrograde display and regatta timer. So we have, yeah, yeah, Mr. Gambara, this absolutely might be quite the series. But anyways, I mean,
maybe two episodes. We'll
whatever.
see how it goes. It depends on what you guys think.
We'll see how much fun we
too.
have, what you guys think of it. But anyways, lots and lots and lots of complications. We definitely missed plenty of them.
Oh yeah.
Before
we dig in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Before we dig in, if you are watching us on Instagram and you are looking for better picture quality, better sound quality, and a wider angle, please come join us over on the European Watch Company YouTube channel. It is the exact same stream. There is still the chat. We love seeing all you guys pop up and participate. So please jump over there if you're on Instagram.
Yep.
Somebody asked, is tourbillon a complication? What was that?
Why is
Why is tourbillon
tourbillon?
a complication?
Why is tourbillon?
Tourbillon is a complication.
It's a very...
It is a complication because it's, I look at it as a complication as almost the very literal meaning of that word, where it is complicating the movement in addition to what would normally be keeping time. So they were using standard, oscillating balance wheels before Breguet came up with the tourbillon. And then the tourbillon was a further complication in order to offset the effects of gravity on pocket watches. And
it was really designed for ships' clocks, essentially.
As a chronometer thing.
Yes, a ship's chronometer, exactly. Because gravity has an effect on, as Rob's saying, the balance wheel of the watch, affects the accuracy. The tourbillon was a way, essentially, to create a more accurate timepiece, which was super important, say, in the 18th century, because
thinking of that, we forgot remontoire.
We did forget remontoire, because clocks were being used as important tools for navigation. So that's why tourbillons were created. I think we should just start there with it right now. Obviously, that is why the beautiful but not functional category is on our list.
Let's grab a tourbillon. Which one should I guess I should start with Breguet, right?
Well, no. Start. Well, sure. Yes, go ahead.
Since the tourbillon is really the house that Breguet built, and this actually we're going to bang out 2 for 1. So this is going to help us get through 2 different complications here. And it's funny because both of these are not complications the way we think of them in terms of like chronographs and things like that, because what we are looking at now when we go to the wrist cam here is a time-only watch. This doesn't even have like a running seconds hands per se, though you could use the tourbillon as your running seconds.
It's a 60-second cage, but what are you going to pick a point on the cage and like
some tourbillons
stare at it?
So hold please. This tourbillon, our other example here, actually has a hand.
Yes, that has a hand
connected to the tourbillon cage.
That is a running seconds
because
hand
they're Germans.
that is run off of the tourbillon cage.
And you need to have seconds.
Yes.
For proper timing of events. So anyway, starting with the Breguet. This is a lovely Breguet regulator tourbillon, and I'm winding this up so that you guys can all see that tourbillon cage. Let me know if that's not in focus, folks, but I think I got it. There we go. So you guys can see the entire balance is rotating. Whoa. Thank you, David.
Oh, dang, you can see all the guillotine
all
in the
up in the grill.
I'm sorry, Robert.
It does have a hand.
Oh, it does.
There's a hand.
Oh, man.
It does have seconds. So they also mounted a seconds hand on the cage of this watch. So the tourbillon is rotating every 60 seconds. So it does serve as a seconds hand. Many of them do not have that hand. So I didn't actually expect that, but it is here, which makes sense being a regulator and where that comes from. But that cage is rotating. And the idea is that no matter the position of the watch, that cage is constantly rotating, thus averaging out any effects gravity might have on the balance wheel there. And again, part of the idea with Breguet anyway was the whole like a pocket watch that's sitting like this in your pocket most of the time. It would help average out so that it's not just kind of like swinging. I was going to say,
the reason why this now, I think we both agree, goes into the beautiful but not functional category is because of what you just said. The tourbillon was originally developed when they were, the only application was essentially, like we said, ship's clocks or pocket watches. And, when you put it on your when watches went from pocket watches to wrist watches, where it's it's being held in multiple different positions throughout the day. Your wrist is constantly moving. That movement in and of itself essentially does the work of a tourbillon. It offsets gravity. So it's not necessarily, it's no longer necessary. It's just such a difficult and labor-intensive complication to create that we still obviously thoroughly appreciate it, and they're gorgeous, but they're just not necessary anymore.
It's right. So like, is a tourbillon going to be any more accurate than your standard wristwatch, regardless of complication?
Absolutely not.
It's not. Is it stunning? Is it beautiful?
Yeah.
Is it lovely to look at? Is it amazing to marvel at the fact that they can make this? And now, this is almost like your old-fashioned tourbillon now, because then you have brands like Greubel who do, two concentric tourbillons where you have two cages
not even that.
rotating
So
at two different things.
when I think of two different, I mean, like say Ferrier with the double spiral, that's where I think of that. But Greubel is doing basically a gyro tourbillons where they're rotating on multiple axes.
Yeah.
To even further offset the effects of gravity,
as
like
well, with those,
Jaeger,
like,
incredible.
It's like a ball that like spins in there. So, it's about artistry and technical prowess. So let's pop that on the tier list. We know where it's going.
You want to answer those questions?
Sure. What do you got?
Oh, we got questions.
Repeating chronograph that Omega did on that. Repeating
Yes.
chronograph.
Yes, it is. So,
Repeating chronograph.
so they did. We have a watch
Oh,
like this.
That just yes.
When
this
you
is
push the
ridiculous.
chronograph, it goes ding.
Yeah.
And when you stop the chronograph, it goes ding. And then I think when you push reset as well, it goes ding.
I
So
think
every time you push it, it like sounds a gong like a repeater.
that's for that goes in the but why category. That is the most useless complication.
We don't
of
have
all
a
time.
picture of that one, but I agree. Because I guess it's so that like,
Brendan says the tourbillon is the top attractive, zero usefulness. You can even lose hacking seconds because of a turb. Yeah, sure, exactly.
I mean, four of my 5 watches do not have a seconds hand. So it shows you how much I care about accuracy and those kinds of things.
Yeah, this
like
is
for
the
me,
only one that I have that has a seconds hand.
Your
and
Royal
I
Oak,
could care less. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not big accuracy
So
people
we
here.
might as well quickly hit Regulator while we're
Yes.
there. Go back to the wrist cam for 1 second. A regulator is when you have a watch where the hands have been split. So in this case, we have the hours up here at 12, your minute hand, and then your seconds hand on the tourbillon. So you can see we have 3 different pivot points here for all of the hands. And the idea behind that was when you were a watchmaker and you had a regulating clock in your workshop, you never wanted the slow-moving hour hand to obscure being able to accurately read the time. And so they split all of the hands into separate pivots and separate circles here so that you could always very accurately down to the second read the time. Is that a complication? I think it is.
Absolutely
because
it
it's
is.
further complicating the movement. So if we go back to our tier list here.
Oh, hold on.
Hold, please.
Oh, please. Go ahead. Back to the list. Oh, you want to put regulator somewhere. I probably should have been prepared for that.
And the regulator we've chosen at the bottom, it's the black dial IWC there. I owned this watch in steel with the silver dial, and I really, really liked it. And people are like, isn't it hard to read the time? No, it's not. You get used to it very quickly.
No, it's one of those things where, like, kind of like the orbital satellite display from Urwerk, or say a 5235 from a regulator from Patek. The more
Even the Mad One.
Mad One
with the like
similarly,
discs on the side, like,
it's one of those things where you have to kind of retrain your brain, but as soon as you've done it a few times, all of a sudden it becomes second nature just to look and to be very quickly and easily be able to tell what time it is. I think a regulator is beautiful. I love a regulator. I'll probably have another one in my collection at some point. But in terms of what we have here and this scope, I'm going interesting, but archaic. Archaic, interesting. Okay.
I love how that kind of chops. So it's archaic.
Let me think real quick. So, interesting and archaic. So
What about-
no longer. You're saying that it. Yeah. It no
What
longer
about the
has
crowd? What do you guys think out there in internet land? Where should we be putting the regulator?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't want to agree with you, but I think I do. it's
You can't help it when
like
I'm right.
yeah,
What-
no,
what
let's
can you
let's
say?
not
You
get
cannot
crazy
help
here.
it when I'm
No,
right.
but like you said, so the regulator was created for a very specific purpose that clearly it no longer serves.
As were all of these.
I know, but very clearly, like the Tourbillon, no longer serves that purpose, no longer necessary.
Nope.
it's
But it's
not
cool.
it's not beautiful, but it's interesting.
I think it's
So then why did you put it in beautiful but not functional? You're the one who created these categories. I'm going interesting and archaic. Final answer.
Yeah, that's where it goes. It's
just
to me, it's beautiful, but it's not as beautiful as a tourbillon. Whereas when
Agreed.
you look at a tourbillon and you're like, that is a thing of beauty. And I don't care if it's, you know, the Breguet and the Lange turby that we have here. I don't care if it's a Patek turby where you only see it on the back. I don't care if it's an MB&F turby with it floating in some weird space.
Well, I think the difference there is that a tourbillon is actually, it's a lot more watchmaking to create that complication. I think there are different levels of complications, clearly,
Oh, 100%.
obviously. And a tourbillon is a much higher level of complication than, say, a regulator. So
Yes.
I agree. Okay.
Yes, it is. That's why they cost a lot more.
Correct. Where are we going
Beautiful
next?
but archaic. I didn't put that one in there.
Ah.
Also interesting. Yeah, some
Yeah.
interesting archaic.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
good.
yeah. All right.
Scott agrees. That's right. See, everybody's with me.
I
You
just
have to be
I
with me.
just agreed with you. God, what's gonna
Yeah,
happen? What's gonna happen when I actually disagree with you now? Jesus. All right, where are we gonna
Your
go
turn.
next? I think that we should go. Let's go totally super simple, and let's just go date complication.
Let's
Because
talk.
for me personally, all of these other things are great. They're cool. They're interesting. They have history. There's a story. A date is by far the most useful complication you could possibly put on a watch. Well, you're wrong, but date is absolutely. Everybody out there, let me know if you agree with me. But I mean, what is more useful than just a simple date
At
complication?
least half of the watches on here have a date, and they have it in a different way. So, and I love that you picked this, because this was you in terms of like when we said, what are we going to use?
Just for, we'll do both at the same time-ish. Yeah.
And I pulled this.
You did.
I did.
Which, sure.
It has a date. It has a date.
So what Rob has in his hand is a modern Datejust. So, you know, the Datejust line introduced in, I believe it was in 1945.
It's hard because it started as the bubble backs.
Correct.
Did they have a date? Ooh. Did bubble backs have a date? People of the internet,
I don't think
help
so.
us out.
I could be wrong. I know nothing about bubble backs.
But this is such a good option here because I feel like the date is not only a complication, but it's a feature.
Right.
Right? Because like it has that magnifying bubble that sticks above the crystal. It is applied on top of the crystal to bring that date into full view so that even somebody as myopic as myself can read that.
In all senses of the word.
Whoa.
Continue.
But yeah, and like the fact that we had this, like a two-tone Jubilee with a champagne dial, like this is so classic and so, there we go, in focus. I mean, it's right all the time. This is always right.
Exactly.
And I like two-tone. I've really come to like two-tone. I think it does feel dated in all the right ways. And I love that. It like, to me, it almost feels like a classic kind of thing.
This is perfect though. Like this doesn't even two-tone, we've talked about it a million times. Two-tone has some negative connotations, grandpa's watch, whatnot. This is not dated in any way. You know, you get that really beautiful champagne dial, you know, fluted bezel, gorgeous Jubilee bracelet.
Yeah,
like this wears incredibly. This doesn't look dated to me at all. Brendan Cunningham, date is useful, day is worthless. I agree. If you don't know what day it is, you have bigger problems. You need to figure some shit out. Date is great when you can't remember a number for 24 hours. Wow, man.
So the other watch I chose to pull for this was the classic Submariner. This one being the old school 40 mil ceramic bezel sub. And this is such an interesting watch because this is available in both flavors. You can get this with a date or without a date. So like this is the watch that can please everybody. Because there is no debate on the internet like a debate about the date window.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, especially when it comes
Like,
to subs.
there's-
Especially when it comes to subs.
But anything, did it?
The debate about the date.
I'm throwing sick rhymes here.
Oh my God! Someone save me! Help!
But it's true though. Like how many, like even before I worked here, I remember seeing people spitting fire about dates on watches and how it ruins the symmetry of this watch, but it enhances the symmetry of that watch.
I don't disagree. I mean, geez, welcome to watch collecting. Like that is forever and ever. That's going to be what happens. But there are plenty of watches you and I can both think of, probably 4 or 5 easily, where the placement of the date window like ruins the watch.
I hate dates at 4:30.
Me too.
I hate
Put it
dates
at 3 o'clock.
On a chrono, I like it because it sandwiches in between those subdials.
I
And
still
it makes
hate
sense.
it. I don't
But
like it.
when you have
Old
a time-only watch,
overseas where it's like offset, all that. I like. No, thank you. That ruins it for me.
So go to the tier list.
I am on the tier list, Robert. I'm
And
already on the tier list.
Date
I
is
know.
useful, but not enough to have to magnify it.
Yeah,
Maybe you're young, Scott. Maybe you can see. I
Scott,
can't
also with with the Datejust, where hence the name, it's that is the watch. That is the focal point of the watch. I think a Cyclops does make sense. I do agree on, like, say, a Skydweller or something from back in the day where they did not use a Cyclops.
It's small.
It is small.
It's small.
It's very small. So,
small.
I mean, I'm putting this at useful and functional.
Yes, it has to go there.
Totally.
There's no other place. Because it's in this case, it's not beautiful. In the watch we're going to show next, it is.
Absolutely. It's not, right. It's not interesting. It's not beautiful.
No.
It is useful and functional.
Yeah.
When it comes to just a straight up date, as in a Datejust,
Yeah.
just the
I'm
date.
sure you and I both have customers who will, it's a deal breaker if the watch doesn't have a date.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Like those people do exist. If you're on the depths of the internet, you'll think everybody hates date windows, but there are people who genuinely like them and look at their watch for the date multiple times a day.
Yeah.
6 o'clock can be an excellent place for a date window. I agree with you, Josh.
Well, yeah, but Josh, what would you, give me a good example of that, because I'm trying to think of one that I actually like at 6 o'clock.
There's plenty of good dates at 6 o'clock.
What do you got?
I like this Patek with the date
No.
at 6 o'clock. Yes, 100%.
No.
I like, there was another one I was just thinking of the other day.
This would be so much better if the sector was complete. It was not broken.
We're going to get to that.
All right, let's go big
second.
day. Let's go big day.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'll think of the other one that I was just looking at, and I was like, man, that date at 6 o'clock.
All of a sudden, you can't think of one.
I missed it.
Interesting.
Put it back up. Unless retrograde. Yeah, we're going to get there. That's on the list.
Emoji date wheel. Love it.
Yeah,
right, go to the big date.
wheel.
Go to the big date.
Talk about useless. All right, then you take date and you make it bigger, and you get the big date. This is so interesting to me because they took the date and took it away from that useful, functional category and said, let's make this one of the hallmark features of our brand. And Lange did that right from the start in 1994 with the Lange 1.
Well, with multiple models from that 1994 collection.
Right, because Arcade
the
had a big
Arcade
date.
had it as well.
Saxonia had the big date.
Saxonia.
It was everything. And a lot of people like to complain about the white printed discs, like having white with black printing on black dials, gray dials, blue dials. They did that across the board. I actually agree with the choice that they made because I feel like they wanted it to be a feature and a focus.
Right.
And it is.
Well, if
zoom it out a little bit.
If the twin date discs on this big date were the color matched the dial, like you said, it would no longer be a distinctive feature, and it would look, honestly, in my opinion, would look weird and out of place.
Yeah.
Here, obviously the Lange 1, adheres to the rule of thirds, the golden ratio. It's incredible. It's like more than the sum of its parts. This is an absolute monster design.
Datagraph's a good shout too.
I was going to say,
beautifully executed date.
Exactly. I mean, and again, it's Lange who has made a big date, a hallmark of the brand. The data was probably the best example. We should have grabbed
moved
that.
in the way, but let me move them to say who wins for legibility.
For legibility, huh?
Legibility. Who wins? Me and the English language. What's more legible?
To be honest, to be honest, in my
Rolex with the magnifier.
the Lange is more legible and it's easier to read. You're not messing with the angle on the Cyclops or whatever it is. And again, this, I mean, just like the Datejust, the big date is a feature.
Yeah.
Is a focal feature of the
and there
Lange
were
one.
so many Langes that we could have picked for this because there's so many beautiful
almost
big
all of
dates.
them,
But
yeah.
so take us to the tier.
You are demanding today. Wow.
Well, I'm just trying to coordinate because it's like you and David with the cameras.
Let's see. All right.
And so I want to get everybody going.
I know where I'm going to put this one. Where are you going with this?
To me, this starts moving into the useful and beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
totally.
Because I think they really do a good job of taking a mundane complication like a date, which people don't even think of that as a complication anymore, right? It's like people will say it's a time-only watch, even when it has a date.
Yeah.
And they make it a focal. They make it really good. There are some Blancpains with a big date at 6 o'clock that look phenomenal.
Totally.
There we go. The Aqualung with the big date at 6.
That's
Boom.
the answer. That's the
Boom.
answer. That's actually an incredible watch. I would
So,
happily
wait a
own
minute.
one. I would wear one.
Am I right again?
No, you're not right.
Am I
I'm not
right
going to say you're right.
again?
I said that useful and beautiful. What do you got? What do you got? Pointer date. That's another one we did not think of, but that's we do have one on the table. We have this
Yeah,
Ferrier.
I was going to say we have that. Plus, like technically the perpetuals that we have.
When
have
it
the
comes to
pointer
dates,
date too.
so in the
And that guy.
in the grand scheme of date complications, if we're going to talk just a simple date, a big date, or a pointer date, I'm going big date every single time. I can't think of a single simple date or pointer date that I would pick over a big date.
But I I have no problem with like a classic Calatrava with the date at 3 o'clock. I think that's fine.
Sure,
like
it's
I think
fine. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. But sure, Rob. Yeah, that's totally fine. No, but I agree. That's fine. But if I had a choice, I'm taking that Lange one, or I'm taking any big date.
Yeah.
I'm taking that Blancpain over just a simple Calatrava with a date at 3 o'clock.
Interesting. No,
That
to me
Aqualung
there's
is so
something
good.
about it is really good.
It's so good.
But I like the 38 mil Aqualung,
Agreed.
where it has the nice little date at 3 o'clock, framed nicely. To me, it just works. It's classic.
All right. All right. Where are we going next? Because I picked the last one.
Yep. As we are approaching the halfway point, I want to again say that if you are watching us on Instagram and you would like to see better quality, wider angles, and better sound, please join us on the European Watch Company YouTube channel. That is also where these videos live in perpetuity. So if you missed the first half and you want to see it, you can find it there after the stream.
Or, previous episodes. Previous. I see. Now it's my turn to stumble over my words. Also, in addition to we've said it for almost years at this point, we're working on building out the channel. We are actively trying to add some more little features that we hope you guys like. One is a little bit of like a sneak peek at some pieces that are incoming to the website. So keep an eye. We're going to try to do that on Fridays. It's going to be, just an unannounced little live stream for like 5-10 minutes. Then they will be uploaded to the page. So if you're looking to get a little bit of a sneak peek into some of the pieces that are coming to our website, in the coming week, keep an eye on our page on Fridays. So
a little bit different than these long form things.
What do we got? I heard Aqualung by Jethro Tull today and immediately thought of Rob. That's hilarious.
You're too sweet. Thank you.
Rob does play a mean flute.
I do not. It's too many buttons for me. Are you kidding me?
All right.
I couldn't handle that.
All right, where are we going?
So I think since we're at the date, we take the date and we build on it.
Okay.
And we say like, okay, so you have your simple date, but that goes to 31 every month.
It does.
And that's frustrating to you. You want something that is right more often. So the next level of complication. Well, it's true.
I know.
It's not right all the time. I'm not going straight there. I'm going to go for the right more often. And we're going to talk about annual calendars.
Cool. Grab them.
Jethro Tull was part of you. So you got good eyes, sir. You got good eyes. So this is kind of cool because this gives us our annual calendar and our pointer date that somebody was talking about. And actually, Albert here in the room was talking about the date around the outside like that, which is like an old school kind of thing. You'll see that on old Jaegers from the 40s and the 50s and things.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but another complication that we forgot that you just reminded me of is the weekly calendar.
Oh,
talking about dates all around the outside.
Yep.
But anyway,
yeah,
sorry,
you
continue.
see that on Pateks and APs and stuff. So this is the Laurent Ferrier Ecole, which is this case with the straight lugs like this. And this is his annual calendar. I believe it's the only watch he actually makes in this case as a standard production. You get a variation on the manual wind movement that's found in the classic origin. We have a power reserve on the back. This is, you know, this is a gentleman who worked at Patek Philippe before he started his own brand, and you can see that continuation here.
Totally.
And I think it's elegant, it's beautiful, it's stainless steel, it's lightweight. This is a killer kind of everyday banger.
I don't know if it was last week or the week.
I don't think we ever
week,
showed this watch on here.
But I'm not sure if it was last week or the week before. We were specifically talking about Ferrier, and I think we both have a little bit of like a. I know I personally I would love to own a Ferrier at some point. I'm not sure which one it will be. You know, the new Classic Origin is just the just the plain Jane Classic Origin is a killer watch in titanium. It wears so well. Like you said, like it's very clear to see, you know, the kind of like the influences, the lineage and the influences of Patek.
Yeah.
You know, and we've said it before, but you know, he basically ran the advanced research department before there was such a thing at Patek. You know, and this again, like when we show the movement off, it has all the hallmarks of that kind of advanced, you know, next level thinking. You know, with that dry escapement. You know, it's just a really, really special piece, and he does things slightly differently, but it's still such like a to such a high level, and they're just really, really interesting.
Then one other, and I picked this one because I read Josh asking, I don't remember much from high school French class, but he knows that Ecole means school, and he's like, why did he name that watch that? He had a reason, and I remember reading in an article when he announced that case, but I don't recall what that is now, but it's somewhere in the article or something. So this is a Patek annual calendar. This is the reference 5396. Whoops, I had the crown out. And this watch is cool because this actually looks like the old school Perpetuals, but it's an annual. This is a great date at 6 o'clock. Look at that.
Disagree.
It gives you fantastic symmetry from top to bottom of the watch. Where else would you put the date? The old ones had the pointer date around the moon, which you couldn't read anyway, so I think this is actually an upgrade there. And an annual calendar, because we didn't actually say this, is right for every month except February. So this watch does not take into account the leap year, which is why it is one level below a Perpetual. Sorry for the fingerprints. Dave's got that extreme zoom going. So this watch only needs adjustment in February. Most of these, the Ferrier didn't have the moon, but most of the annuals that you see from Patek will have the moon. And then one other annual,
all of them, don't they?
Just for something completely
and
different.
Just while you're looking for that, Patek actually, they invented, which is, it's kind of crazy to think, but Patek invented the annual calendar, and in '96, I believe, it was a 5035, you know, and it's kind of crazy to think that the Perpetual calendar has been around for a long time, but for whatever reason, the annual was not
30 years old.
It's literally 30 years, not even, it's 28 years old. Like, it's just, it's pretty interesting. So sorry, continue.
Fantastic comment there about how when you explain these things to non-watch people, that you have a watch that can account for which days have 30, which days have 31, and then, or sorry, which months have which number of days.
And then which years have Februaries that are either 28 or 29 days.
Yeah, with wheels and sprockets and springs and stuff.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible.
And
so,
in a tiny little package.
This is an annual calendar, and this is so cool because it doesn't look like that, but it is. And what Rolex said was, hey, how can we denote the month without making the watch like kind of cluttered and overly complicated? And they said, well, there's 12-hour markers, so why don't we make the 12-hour markers also be the 12 months? So you can see there's a little red here by the 9, telling you that this watch is currently set to September 4th. And then this, again, in February will require adjustment. But for the rest of the year, it will be correct. So you only, if you're wearing this every day, you only need to correct it once a year, which is pretty cool.
It really is. Like that's such an ingenious you know, and very Rolex creation, in my opinion. Plus, you get the command bezel with that, which is just like a whole other level of complication, even though it's not really a complication.
Well, but for a company that doesn't make complicated watches,
That's what I'm
this thing
saying.
is crazy.
Right, right.
Ooh, the inline.
Yeah, but that's a Perpetual. We haven't gotten there yet.
But it is killer. It's a beautiful complication.
We should have grabbed one, but oh well.
should've.
All right, let's go to the tier list and let's put annual calendars on the ranking. Let me think where I'm going to put it.
I'll let you say it so then I can tell you how you're wrong.
In my opinion, see, this is hard because I don't necessarily consider it's useful. It's not beautiful. It's not necessarily. Hold on. Let me make my okay. So it's useful. It's not necessarily beautiful. It's useful. In my opinion, it's not functional because it does not it doesn't go all the way that a perpetual calendar goes. You as the wearer need to be on top of things and know when to adjust it. So not super functional.
Interesting. Scott just logged on and said, "Oh no, I'm late." Scott, you can watch the rest of this stream after the fact because it will live on YouTube forever. And Chopard 1860, even though it was without complications, is a lovely watch. Congratulations.
Continuing on.
Ooh,
what?
Josh said top tier. What? Did you have something to say?
I was trying to speak. It's fine. Josh is wrong. Rob is wrong. I think it is beautiful but not functional. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going with it? Where are you going with it?
I think it's very functional.
Why?
I think if you're a person who relies on the date on your watch being right, it being right other than 1 month a year is pretty darn good.
Hold on. Time out though. Like, yeah, so you're going to rely on it and you want it to always be right. But again, you need to take the time to remember, is it a leap year? How many days are there in February this particular year? And how many days, let me do the 30 days has September, April, June, and November rhyme.
But you don't have to do that because it accounts for all of the other months.
I don't care. Huh? No, it is absolutely useful. But so the distinction here is that you're right that
keep digging, keep digging. Right, let me get you a shovel. We have a pitchfork, but we don't have a shovel.
So where are you putting it? Where are you putting it?
Where you want to put it. To me.
But so the thing is that with just a date, with a Datejust, it's very easy to know. It's very easy to know. In February, there's only there's however many days, and you just advance it. Like, I don't know.
Well, you wake up, it's March 1st, and you move it forward.
Exactly.
None of us are relying on our watch as the end-all, be-all.
I hope not.
Right?
I hope
because like we have technology.
All right, so give me your.
I'm useful and functional, but I want you to put it where you put it.
You're useful and functional.
I'm useful and functional because I think it is a very practical complication. I think when you move up to the Perpetual, then you add the beautiful aspect.
I mean, oh, sure. Do not disturb. It's fine, Rob. You can leave your phone on.
The wife gets through do
you
not
can leave
disturb.
Your phone on.
She's the only one.
Wow, Catherine.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
She has privileges.
Oh,
you put it in my category.
I don't feel like arguing with you. I'm a people pleaser, Robert. You need to set it yourself and know very often. Exactly. Okay. That's the thing. Like, it's a kind of a pain. I feel like we need to have like a subcategory.
No winders.
A subcategory. No winders.
So,
absolutely not.
So winders can put extra wear on your watch. So we're not the biggest proponent of winders here at the store for that reason. But also, for me, one of the joys of owning a mechanical watch is interfacing with this lovely little machine that you own. And so I actually... What?
I'm just making fun of your word choice.
What would you have chosen?
Using?
That's so mundane, though. It's so
all right,
vanilla.
continue.
I like setting my watches. I like winding my watches. I enjoy that little ritual of putting it on, giving it a couple cranks, winding it, sometimes setting it. And I'm not the best at that. My Perpetual is not always set. It is set today, actually. You all should be proud of me. I did set it a couple days ago.
We've said this a million times. Like, I had an annual calendar Speedmaster. I had that super rare 80 Speedmaster.
Yep.
The Speedy Moon that I loved. I never set the calendar. I set the date, and that was it. I never would set it for the month. Like I just didn't care.
Yeah.
It was too much of a pain in the ass
That
to
was a nice
set.
watch.
It was a great watch. I actually missed that one. That was dumb. It
It
was
was a nice watch.
full set birth year watch
I
that
was
I was
gonna
like,
say, I remember that one.
I know.
Yeah.
That was a bad trade.
Thanks, David. Thanks. We're gonna have to do an episode about like our worst trades, our best and worst trades, and ask you guys about
The
yours
ones
too.
that got
The
away.
ones that got away
I
for
like
real.
that.
One definitely got away. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have let that one go. But anywho,
Anyway, so let's go one more now. Let's go to the Perpetual.
Let's go to Perpetual. That makes total
bang
sense
out
now.
the
Yep.
Perpetuals.
Yep.
We've got a killer Perpetual here
got a
that I
couple
want to
really
show you guys.
interesting-
We do.
yeah.
I got this because this is like the classic Patek Perpetual with the 3 subdials. You've got Dauphine hands, you've got stick markers. They have ones now with Breguets and the leaf hands, and they're beautiful, they're lovely. But for me, when I think of a Patek Perpetual, I think of this. This is cool because this is in platinum with this gray dial, and we almost never see this
I was
watch.
gonna say, and this is the
Can you zoom out just
the
a
larger,
hair?
yeah, a little bit. This is a
There
very
we
interesting.
go.
This is
Thank
an interesting piece because it's like you said, platinum with that gray dial, which we never see, and it's just
Nope.
it's so classic. It's
Micro rotor.
this is like the epitome of Patek Perpetual. You know,
5140
Yep.
on this one. So this
It's
is
too big for
this
me,
is
but
the
it's
next
great.
generation of my watch, the 3940. So this one is your 36. This is now 37 and a half.
which is it doesn't
Um,
seem like a lot, but
It's different.
it's very
It's different on the wrist.
It's very different.
Let me do this real quick. I'll throw mine on quickly, which is set to the proper date and moon
Whoa,
phase
look
for
at
those of
you.
you playing the home game. Yeah.
Moon phase. That's the-
Yeah, I set the whole thing the other day. So there's the 36 on the wrist. I'm going to pop that off, and I'm going to slide on the 37
Could you
and a
imagine
half.
if they had made a 3940p
That does
with
look
a
good with
gray
this suit.
dial? My God,
Ugh.
that would have been
Ugh.
unbelievable.
But I love it. I love the
do too.
contrast of the white on the gray dial. It's
Yeah.
super legible. This, to me, this is beautiful. This is
Totally.
beautiful, full stop, absolute stunner. Then, for something completely different, we've shown this a few times, but we're
We
showing
have-
it again.
Yeah, it's a monster.
Because, yes, I mean, like, how to flip the watch world on its head. Look at that. Look at that. 5970 is a good shout.
well,
Yep.
why don't you show off the 5204 as well? Give the people, if we're gonna go crazy complicated Patek, the 5204 is not a bad consolation prize for the gentleman looking for the 5970
True.
because this is obviously complications on top of complications. So this is a perpetual calendar with a split chrono also. So just absolute incredible piece on the full bracelet. Like this is
This
the
upside down moon phase is like,
I love it.
Oh.
I love it. It's so good.
let me see if I can show off the bits. Yeah.
Stunning. Like
Yeah, I
jeez.
mean, look at that. You want to talk about complicated? That's like more complicated than a high school relationship. Like that's the business.
How long have
right
you been
there.
waiting to drop that line? I love it.
I just thought of it because you guys were talking about messy
show off,
relationships.
show
before we
show
started.
off the adjusters as well, which is another thing
Oh,
that
yeah,
I love about
Bill-
this watch. It's funny because we've actually had people who like the 5204 who have
Well, this one on
hold
the
on.
bracelet specific.
I'm getting there. When we've had this 5204 1R on the bracelet, you know, people who love the 5204 saying, "Oh man, I really like that watch, but I want it on a strap. Can I just take the bracelet off?" And no, on the 5204 1R you cannot because the adjusters for the calendar are literally built into those end links, which are fixed.
Yeah.
But just another
bracelet
little
comes off,
tiny
like,
a little
here,
little
not there.
detail, you know, from Patek that is just like next level
Oh
watchmaking.
man, it's so
I love this piece.
good. These
House.
Yeah.
no, it's actually go to the thing. This at least here in Massachusetts, this is not a house. This isn't even a condo.
No, are
here
you kidding
anymore.
me? It's not even like a studio.
This is tragically undervalued
is.
on the market,
It
and I
is.
think part of it is the bracelet because it is a little polarizing. It's all shiny.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
But
My God.
this is incredible. It'll be up on the
Unbelievable
site
piece.
soon. Way under where it should be priced,
Yeah.
but it'll be market value.
All right, let's
So-
rank the perpetual calendar, and then we will move on to the split chrono, which is part of that.
I agree.
5204.
The king of complications, Patek.
Totally.
And like the perpetual calendar chronograph is like the Patek in my opinion,
Agreed.
and then to add the split second there, it's
That
just
is
like
that is
N plus one.
Patek's signature Grand Comp for
Yeah,
sure. I think we both agree. Perpetual calendar has
Top
to go
tier.
useful and beautiful.
Yep.
if
Love
I'm
them.
going to have any level of consistency in my reasoning, that's where it has to go. But
Yep.
lucky for me, that's where it belongs. So
Yep.
yeah, it has to go there. Why don't
Done.
we do the split chrono next, because we've already introduced it with the 5204, and we can take it from there. Do we
So
only
talking
have?
about split, this is the only split
Oh,
that
no,
we
have,
brought. We didn't
yeah,
bring
we have others. We have
that
a
Chrono Swiss.
We have a Chrono Swiss. We have a couple
Breitling.
of
we
Mont
forgot
Blancs.
the mono push. Oh no, that's a mono pusher. That's not a split.
That's
Never
different.
mind. But I think I did forget that too.
Oh, way to
That's
go.
okay.
See what
We'll
happens.
skip it. So yeah, so split second. Give me the wrist cam real fast, and we got to crank because we actually have 15
We are
minutes
not
left.
going to even come close to finishing this.
I'm surprised you got as many done as you did.
I know, for real.
Wow, have we really set the
Usually
bar?
it's like 2 or 3 an hour.
Is the bar that low, David?
No.
Is the bar that low?
That bar is
2 or
All right.
3 an hour.
So
hit the wrist cam
split
real
chrono
fast.
on the wrist.
So, what is a split? A split, if you think.
I don't know, Josh. I don't know.
I love it. So, a split, like if you think about sport timing and things like that, the whole point of a split was so that you could time your laps or time 2 events at once. So the idea is that your chrono's running, then you need to notate the time, you split it, this other second hand continues moving, this one has stopped very precisely, I can record that time, then I hit my split button again, it zaps back to here and it continues running, and then I can record the next split similarly as such. So we're talking about a complication that obviously with, you know, even just your phone, you don't need this anymore. So you can see now I've got 2 seconds at 2 separate spots. If I hit this, they're back together. And then when I reset, the whole thing comes back to 0 and
I got
out.
a question for you.
Go ahead, David.
How many of the thousands of people that have a split chronograph ever use it once that can afford these?
Irrelevant.
David,
Doesn't matter.
if I don't know if you guys heard, David's asking how many people who actually own a split chrono ever actually use a split chrono. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
I mean,
matter.
how many people that own a chronograph ever
Yeah.
actually use the chronograph? Like
I
very,
want a
very
Speedmaster.
few.
I don't know why I'm in a real Speedmaster mode these days. I really want one at the moment. But I would never use it. The split often has 2 column wheels in it as well, and this one does. You've got one here, and then I think you've got the other one over here somewhere. There's too many bits in this watch. I don't remember where it is, but dual column wheel chrono.
we now have gone from the split to Lange came out with the double split, and then just because they felt like one-upping themselves, they did the triple split.
So we're
that's
talking about
splitting
splitting, yeah.
seconds, minutes, and hours, which is completely insane. It's actually hilarious when our photographer David here was shooting the last triple split that we had. Getting everything to split took and like properly set, you know, so it was 10-10 and like we were showing all the hands
Everything
split
rolled,
properly. It took forever to do. But
Monster
they're
watch.
absolutely incredible.
While you pull up the tier list real quick, to the gentleman from the UK,
Welcome.
thank you for joining us
Yeah,
from
appreciate
across the pond. We don't have that watch with us today, but that is a monster of complications.
Yeah.
Obviously, a sonnery like that is no joke. And then I saw, who was it? Pull that back up again. There we go, Mr. Gombera with the chronograph lets you interface with the watch.
He's
more.
using
Look
the
at
word
that.
because
Oh,
you
look at
said
that.
it. My God.
Look at that.
Trendsetter Robert
Thank
over
you for
here.
that.
So
Functional for very few. I agree, Scott.
yeah, exactly.
All right, tier us, David.
So I would put it at. It's interesting. It's not necessarily functional.
It can be.
It's
beautiful.
not archaic though.
It can be beautiful
It
when you
can
have
be.
like the hands all poised. It's really nice. Like, and think about like when you see those vintage Longines splits and they've got the
Yeah,
hands,
or the
like,
UG splits. Yeah. All right. I mean, I guess. Sure. So where are we putting it? So beautiful but not functional?
That's where I'd put it. And it even to
more
reinforce that this
interesting,
is like
but
the
not
tangent
functional.
to end all tangents.
Oh God.
There was a gentleman at my house fixing my dryer because it was broken.
What in the hell is happening right now? Continue, please.
And
Regale me with the tale of your dryer.
He was a very serious athlete. He kind of still is. His kids are very serious athletes, and one of them's like a track person who's going to go on to run D1 track.
How much is this dryer company
So,
paying you
What?
to shout
no,
them out
I'm not
right
going to
now?
mention
Okay,
the name.
okay.
But what was interesting was he was talking about like different events and stuff, and apparently only certain events are timed with actual like timing devices. There are other like statewide events that are timed with stopwatches still, and those don't count towards whatever like national standings or something if you're trying to be a super competitive track star. So it just goes to show you that somebody standing there with either this or one of these timing events doesn't qualify. It's not in that useful function anymore because like the human reaction time and all that, it's not accurate enough to really gauge like actual sporting events. So that further puts me into the beautiful
Honestly,
but not functional.
if I am trying to like qualify for the Olympics or some like high level of competition, I don't want Rob with his freaking stopwatch sitting there. Like
with my Patek,
that's a
like,
problem.
sitting
Yeah,
there with like a nice
that's a problem. That's a problem.
nice Cutwater margarita, like timing your race
59.60 or whatever. Yeah. All right.
Totally accurate.
Oh my God. Yeah. No.
Should
Definitely.
we do standard chrono?
No. I think we need to do something.
No!
Yeah, absolutely not. You're wrong.
Shut down.
No, we need to do something totally just funky at this point. We've done a lot of basic complications or traditional complications. So let's get wild right now. Where do you want to go?
Ooh. What?
David, do you want to get rid of the tier list for me?
Oops.
I'm showing off all the back end, all my tabs, man.
Should we talk about a regatta timer?
We should talk about a regatta timer, Robert. That is exactly where I wanted you to go, my friend.
All right. So, being as I don't have a trust fund, why don't you talk about what a regatta timer is?
Oh, wow. Twist the knife a little deeper, buddy. Well, for those of you who are on my level, not necessarily of Rob's category, so regatta timers.
What is a lateral clutch chrono?
A lateral clutch chrono. I have absolutely no idea what that is.
Is
a
that
lateral clutch
what?
chrono?
Give me an example, Mr. Gambaro. Tell us what what is a lateral clutch chrono? Like, what's a model that has that? Because I don't know if I know what that is. Because I know like the levers versus the column wheel, but what's a lateral clutch versus a vertical clutch?
I don't know.
Anyway.
We'll wait for him to answer.
Go
Anyways,
ahead.
so
I didn't mean
back
to
to the Rolex Yachtmaster. So Yachtmaster 1, this is,
No, 2.
sorry, Yachtmaster 2. This is a two-tone rose gold and steel. This is a incredibly complicated timepiece that is very difficult to actually use properly.
Nah, this one I can use.
Can you?
Yeah.
Look at you.
I
Okay.
can demonstrate.
Maybe.
Maybe.
This. Yeah, thanks, Rob. Thanks, really appreciate it. I don't have a trust fund. My God. So I'm 37 years old. My God. So, regatta timers.
Does that mean it's now revocable?
Wait, let me tell you about timing yacht races, Robert. So anyways, so in all seriousness, this is actually a very complicated piece of timekeeping and it really like a complicated piece of horology. Very interesting, very few of them out there. So the regatta timer is designed for sailing races, and basically the whole complication is that there is a 10 on this, there's a 10-minute countdown that you can set because in sailing races there's a fixed starting line between two buoys, and before the start there is a 10-minute countdown where you can basically jostle for position and try
and you have to hit the buoy.
You can try. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Yeah, appreciate it. You can try and set yourself up to, whether you want to tack a certain direction, you want to start a certain distance away from the start line, so that you are timing it to perfectly cross that line between the two buoys at the actual start.
Zero mark. You can see.
Josh, stop giving me a hard time,
this
man.
hand is going. This 10-minute hand here is starting to go down.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this is, like, say you're not looking for 10 minutes, you're looking for less. You can rotate the bezel, and then when you pull out, you have to push this, and then you pull out the crown. Nope. Oh, there it is. Now I can
using the notch there.
Change this to be a 6-minute timer. So now it's a 6-minute timer. I put the bezel back. I would screw my crown back in because I'm probably on the boat getting wet. And then when I hit this, now I've got a 6-minute timer going on, which again, we get this command bezel action. You have this programmable chronograph, it's pretty stinking cool, but it is completely useless.
Completely. Unless you have a yacht that you are competing in regattas with and you are using it to
And
actually.
like if you're on the boat and you're like, all right, twist this and push this. And
I was gonna
pull
say,
that,
to be entirely honest, if this is what you are using to time your start for a regatta, you're gonna
There we
lose.
go.
Like you're gonna lose. This is just like. This is the watch that you leave in your locker at the yacht club, and when you come in and put on your your Sperry topsiders and your your popped collar, this is the watch that you throw on for the dinner, the award ceremony after the actual race.
Granted, it's a good looking watch.
It's beautiful.
It's a good looking, and it's a complication that you're not going to get from any other brand. I think the only other one I can think of who makes one is Tag.
Tag. Well, Heuer made the classic one, and then yes, Tag now makes kind of like a heritage one at this point. But you're right. And Adam is actually right. Richard Mille, the Saint Bart chrono that we've done, totally. I mean, they're the sponsor for the.
Richard Mille.
Brendan Cunningham says by the time you figure out how to use the regatta timer, you've run into a sandbar, and you're totally right. Like I said, like if you're using that to time your start, you're losing the race. I'm sorry. So David, pull us.
Oh, what's the lateral chrono?
He said 5172, which.
Oh.
How is that a lateral?
I thought those
chrono?
had column wheels. So I guess a column wheel is a lateral clutch. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to learn.
David, pull up the tier list.
Thank you for teaching us.
Pull up the tier list. So, I know where you want to put it. I'm putting it beautiful but not functional.
Wow.
Come on.
It's a good looking watch, but it's not beautiful.
It has a reason.
So you're saying it's
solid. You're saying it's neither beautiful nor functional?
It's
all functional.
It's actually functional.
It's
actually
like,
David's right. It's all function.
It's like the guy who appears in rom-coms who's like he's never the leading guy, but he's always like good looking enough to actually be in a movie. Yeah, exactly. It's the best friend. It's the best friend on your wrist.
It's all functional but not useful.
That's actually a good point.
Completely
That is
useless.
such a good point, David. It is so focused. Yeah, exactly. If you are the one guy who needs to time that regatta race, the start of that race, guess what?
So does that put it in the archaic
I have
one then?
no-
Because like
No,
the four people
Are you trying to tell me that yachting is archaic?
that
You plebe.
using a watch to time your yachting is archaic? Hey.
Now,
I'm just gonna sit
overruled,
here-
Robert.
I'm just
Beautiful
gonna
but
sit here
not
and
functional.
revel
No,
in
actually, it
your,
is functional. Oh man, who made these categories? My God, man.
You let me do it. I did it and I sent it to
know.
you for approval, and you were like, "Yeah, it's fine."
And I was like, I'm busy. I don't have time for your bullshit. Interesting and functional. Interesting.
there's
Yeah,
always-
I was too busy reinvesting my dividends, Robert. Jeez. All right. So in the final 4 minutes.
We can do one more.
Yeah. What do you want to
bang
pick?
out one more.
All right, David, take us away from
What
the
about
tier list, please.
folks of YouTube? Is there a complication you want us to hit?
Yeah.
Go now.
Yeah.
Tell
Quick.
us what it is.
The first person to tell us which one to do, we'll do it.
First one to hit the server.
Waiting.
As they say.
Waiting. We
You
will.
all, you all have been lovely today, by the way. Thank you all for tuning in and participating. It is the best when you guys are active like this.
Yeah, it's
we
a lot of
really
fun.
enjoy it.
We do really appreciate it.
For those of you who might have hopped on later or just hopping on, the full stream is available after the fact on YouTube. We keep everything there in perpetuity. I think we even put in chapter markers in case you want to jump around and skip around.
We sure do.
And for those of you watching on Instagram, same thing. Hop over to YouTube and you can see what's there. What do we got?
We're going world time. We're going world time.
Great. Awesome.
Here you go. This is actually one of my personal favorite complications. I think beyond a date, a travel time is the most functional, but I think world timers are one of my favorites, if that makes any sense.
We're going to have words.
So, if that's any different from, like,
is
continue.
This is the Patek 5130 in platinum.
I need one of these in my collection at some point.
5130 or 5110?
Probably 5110, actually.
You'd go 10,
yeah,
right?
10,
I actually like the 30 because I like that big, goofy hour hand. I think that big circle thing is
I actually
so
do really
sick.
appreciate the observer
Can
hand.
you zoom me out just a touch? I'm a little close and I can't get it to
There you go. That's
lock
perfect.
in.
Right there.
This is a stunner. I mean, I love this watch. I love the crown guard. So a world time real quick. You have your local time in the hands, and then we have a 24-hour indicator around here with day, night, pointing to all like major cities in each of the 24 time zones. There are some that will even account for the
In-betweens.
half-hour time zones in India.
Yeah, and Russia.
But yeah, so you can see as I move the hands around, zoom me out again just a little bit. When we get too close, it looks like it
There you go.
flusses.
You're
There
good.
we go. That's good. You can see that that's moving. So right now we're set to the Azores. I don't know who lives there, but we're set to that. And then say you want to move that around. With the push of this button, it moves around, and you'll notice that the hour hand moves around too. So as you are traveling, your home time will always be home time. So like now I'm in Tokyo, it's noon in Tokyo, and then I can tell that back in New York here, it's coming up on 10 o'clock, which is 2200 hours.
You also get the day-night with the
Same
this as well,
caliber
yeah.
that they build the Perpetuals on. Horamundi's a good shout. I like those. Those are cool. That's by Breguet. And then same micro rotor caliber, lovely curvaceous case. It's beautiful. I'm going to cut to the chase because we're short on time.
David,
Put the
tier
tier
list.
up.
Pull it up.
Yeah, do it.
Go for it.
So,
I have it on.
Did we lose our feed?
Oh, no.
No!
Still have it on this.
Oh, way to go, Dave. Way to go.
Check the cables. Check the cables. So, this to me is the, yay, thank you.
There it is. Cool.
This is the beautiful but not functional.
What? How is it not functional?
Because half of the year it's wrong.
Oh, so you're
It does not
going to be
account
one
for
of those daylight
savings.
savings guys right now?
It doesn't work. It
Oh,
doesn't work.
God.
It wouldn't stop me from owning one. It wouldn't stop me from wearing it and
Right,
enjoying it
right.
because especially like Patek, what was his name? Cartier, right?
Who?
Louis Cartier
Louis
was
Cartier,
the
yes,
inventor
yes.
of the world time
Yep.
for Patek Philippe.
Correct. In the
And
30s.
it was a signature complication that nobody had done before they came out with
Right.
it. And then it was just a rotating bezel. It wasn't what it is here.
Those early ones, I can't remember the references, but they were
14
they're
something,
stunning.
1438
1438 or
60,
something like that.
38,
Yeah,
something like that.
They're incredible. Incredible.
They sell at auction for
They're
tremendous
tiny.
amounts of
They're
money.
35 mil, and they have that gold rotating bezel. Like
Every
they're
single one
amazing.
has different hour hands.
Yes.
It's so cool. You get some with the circle. You get some that look like a torch with like different points.
Mhm.
Like they're the vibiest watches in the
Totally,
world, and
totally.
I love them. And I would wear a modern one. I'd wear a vintage one. I love a world time. It is my second favorite to my Perpetual. Would be like a 5110 or a 5130.
To be honest, when it comes to like we've
chef's kiss. I
yeah.
agree.
We've nerded out about when it comes to like actuation in say the datograph and things like that. This
Yeah.
it's you feel that giant wheel, like
Yeah.
you feel that rotating, and it's just it's so special.
If you're a tactile
it's
person,
awesome.
you gotta get your hands on one and just push the button. And you can't break it like a
So-
big date. You
Right,
can, as long
true.
as you're like pushing the button and letting it release fully. and
Somehow
everything,
we
you can't
don't
break
have
it.
a world timer for me to put on the tier list, so unfortunately I can't
There
list
are
it.
so again he's saying that Beauvais has one that accounts for daylight savings. There are ones that
There are some, yeah.
Did we not put a world timer?
No,
in
there's not one down there. So, shucks, Rob.
We
I can't
were
put it
remiss.
where you were wrong in putting it.
there? So where do you want to put it?
It is.
Put the tier list back
it's
up, just so-
useful and beautiful. It's not functional and beautiful. It's useful and beautiful, Robert.
No, it's beautiful but not functional.
more of a
That's the.
design.
We just said the same thing in different ways.
Oh, okay. It is not useful. Unfortunately, it's not useful, but I
Half
don't
the year
care.
it's useful.
I don't.
It's gorgeous. 6 months out of the year, it's
So-
totally useful.
So the annual calendar, which is right every month but one, is not useful.
Hey,
but then
My logic is sound. I see no cracks in any of this. I do not like interfacing with it. I like
So
to
it's 6
use
o'clock.
it. My God. Why is this turned into the
Oh,
rip
my.
on me hour? No, it's kidding.
I thought this was going to be a lot of fun. This
Yeah,
is kind
was
of what
good.
I hoped this would be when I thought of this earlier in the
Totally.
week. Because ultimately, you guys are too kind. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you to everybody who's been watching.
Yeah, we
The
do
reason
appreciate
we're
it.
doing this is because it's fun and we really enjoy interacting with the community out
Totally.
there, with the collectors and the enthusiasts who are as crazy as we are. And it's a good time. So thank you all so much
Yeah.
for tuning in, checking it out.
We
do
have-
we do it next week?
We
Drop
have
us.
so many more to go. So we will, yeah, let us know. Actually,
Drop
throw,
us a comment. Do you
comment-
want more of this nonsense?
yeah. Let us know if next week we should continue this. We should take a break. We'll definitely be coming back to this. There's so much more that we have not hit. Thank you guys, as Rob said, for joining. We love when you guys are joining in and telling us when we're right, when we're wrong, when you're ripping on my non-existent trust fund. And also keep an eye out for our little Take 5 episodes that are going to be showing up on Fridays. Star Wheels of the Kid. Yeah, right. So, anyways.
I love the Star Wheel. We'll get there.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. See you
Happy
later.
weekend, everybody. Thank you so much.
Team Rob.